I don't know why the snake off.
We're good, okay. I'd like to call to order the Regional Governance Board of the Southwest Vermont Regional Technical School District for its regular meeting tonight, Monday, April 21st, 2014. We do have a quorum present, everybody's present, so thanks for coming this evening. And we're going to start out with public comments, and we do have some this evening from Rosemary Pelletier. So, her phone's ringing all right. Could you, Francis, could you move the, can you just move the mic over to the end of the table, and we'll probably pick up just fine for you.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
Okay. I've come this evening because it was 2 years ago, I think this month, that the Vermont Rural Development Organization came to Bennington and talked about the strengths and needs of this community and the challenges. And one of the 4 working groups that was established met in this room, and the seeds for the idea of a time exchange came out of that meeting. And we spent probably 9 months talking about the possibilities. And the name of it is Hour for Our Community Time Exchange. And what it is an organization that builds community by, it's a membership organization, and the individuals exchange services and talents on an hour-for-hour basis where everybody is treated equal. And so in that way builds community. So an hour of one person's service entitles them to ask anybody in the organization to return an hour of service to them. And the purpose is to build connections across socioeconomic stratas and multi-generational, et cetera. My purpose tonight is not so much to talk about the organization, but a year ago we came and I would say tentatively approached Barbara Gabati and the students in the Communications Technology Department and said, you know, we want to launch this project. We have no idea about how to design promotional materials and those kinds of things. And so Barbara's enthusiasm and her willingness to engage her students in that, you know, and we're talking April, and I'm a teacher, so I know what it means when at the end of the school year somebody comes and says, we have a big project we'd like you to undertake. And so we're real appreciative of her enthusiasm in doing that. And 2 of her seniors undertook the task. They helped us design the logo. They were extremely patient with us because we would say something, they would come back with some wonderful ideas, and we'd bring it back to our board and we'd say, oh no, we want these changes made. And they just were wonderful in engaging us in that process and helped us to learn a lot of what was needed. And I just wanted to thank you because it's your attitudes toward the faculty that encouraged them to have the community connections, I think, that made this possible. And I don't think you often hear necessarily what those connections are, or maybe the community as a whole doesn't hear. But I thought I would bring some samples of their work. This is the brochure that they designed, and then they made these sandwich boards and this banner for us because we decided we wanted to do it low-key, low finance, and we didn't want to have an office space, but wherever we present, we wanted to have something that would let people know what was happening inside whatever location we were. So I'm here tonight simply to say thank you to all of you and to say how wonderful an experience it has been, and we're hoping to continue this. We're on our 3rd publication printing of the brochure. We had no idea how many we would need at the onset, but they have been wonderful in terms of timeliness and getting things to us, and we would not be where we are as an organization if it had not been for that particular class and its engagement. Thank you.
Thank you for coming and letting us know that. That's important for us.
And I can leave some other flyers for people.
If you could, on the community project, the time exchange project itself, I'd appreciate that.
You know how to contact me if anybody has questions. I'd be glad. We even have a member of your board who's a member of our exchange.
Excellent. Good.
And we want others.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want me to just move these around?
You can. That's
Okay,
fine.
I don't want to
Yeah,
interrupt
that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Community community involvement is a hot topic that we are addressing right now. As you know, there is an item on the agenda that has to deal with the policy that we've been working on. So we are expecting more of it, more community participation in projects like this. And so we're setting the stage as to how to approach it appropriately. We're going to move the item on the superintendent's report. We have a presentation this evening. And rather than have them sit through the entire board meeting, I'm going to move the superintendent's report up forward, which includes their presentation, the students' presentation, so that they can do that.
Good evening. One item I wanted to talk to you about tonight was on April 1st, Tuesday, April 1st, we kicked off, the Creative Development Center kicked off Career Week here at the CDC. And I'll talk a little bit more about what other things we did, but one highlight of it, on Wednesday of that week, we hosted 6th grade students from Pownell and Shaftesbury here to tour the programs in the school. And I do think that this is, the earlier we plant that seed of what goes on here at the Career Development Center, I can't emphasize enough how important I feel that is. It began last year with a business management teacher, Bill Obenauer, who orchestrated and arranged for the students from Shaftesbury to come here and expanded to Pownell this year as part of his business ventures class. I'd like to introduce two students from Mr. Obenauer's class right now. We're going to give a presentation for. So, ladies, if you could come up here and we'll slide the mic down so that you can be heard. First, I'd like to introduce Amber O'Brien. Amber is a junior from Woodford, and Katie Lyons. Katie is also a junior, and she is from Bennington, and they're going to give the presentation tonight as part of the superintendent's report about what they did and their fellow students and Mr. Obenauer did to make this what I think was a very successful event. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Amber O'Brien and this is Katie Lyons, and we had on April 2nd we had 121 elementary students from both Pownell and Shaftesbury Elementary come to the Career Development Center to participate in Career Week. These are some letters that we received from the students of both schools. I'm going to pass it around so everyone can look at it while we're talking. We had 14 CDC classes participate in the event, so they provided interactive activities for the students to do here at the CDC, and we had 34 business management students. They guided the students to their classrooms as well as setting up their own sports management event. Each student had an opportunity to fill out a survey before telling what classes they wanted, and they would rank them from what they wanted the most, from what they wanted the least, and then Amber and I took that information and put them into the 7 blocks according to their first favorite, second favorite, so on. Each class could vary from 15 minutes to 30 minutes to 60 minutes, so the kids could be either in 7 short blocks of 15 minutes, or they could be in 3, depending if they have a 60-minute. So it really varied, but most of them had got all of their first choices. We did have a few issues, however, with the flexibility of some of the students and some of the teachers, we were able to overcome that and make it a fun experience for everyone. We've already started building off of what we learned pretty much the day that it ended. We started building off of and learning from what we didn't do exactly correct, and we're going to learn from that and make it better next year. This was definitely a good experience for us to have running the event, because it's really a real-life interpersonal activity rather than just a make-believe thing that we get graded on. It was something we could do and have real results from other people other than our teacher.
I can't emphasize that enough. This was not a simulation. This was, as they said, real world. A project that we wanted to do anyways, and the fact that the Business Ventures class under Mr. Obenauer can take this on as a real project for something that was needed to be done here is just an excellent example of the work that our students and our staff does. So, before I open it up for questions, I don't know, Mr. Obenauer, did you want to add anything to their excellent presentation?
Well, the only thing that I would add is I want to 100% stress that this was really my students and not me as far as putting this together. I literally gave Katie and Amber a mess of data and said, girls, see what you can come up with this. And they came up with a schedule for these students that was absolutely phenomenal. And they took it upon themselves as they coordinated with different student guides to say, hey, we're going to give our cell phone numbers to everybody to make sure that if people have problems during the event, they can get a hold of us. And I remember the first 15-minute session we had, they were sitting in my room, they said, we feel like we should be doing something. I said, you'll be doing something in a few minutes, just wait. And Katie's phone rang, she answered the phone, and she said, we got something to take care of. And the two of them were out on the floor and had everything running smoothly from there. I think that the students and the teachers that were involved probably had no idea of some of the things that they did behind the scenes and what some of the other students did to make this event flow very smoothly. But I did a debrief with all 4 of my classes the day after the event, and every single one of my classes said, every time something came up where you had a question, they said Katie and Amber were in the right places at the right time to answer that question. I think that's just a true testament to what they put into this project personally, which is why they're here to talk to you about it. So I just want to thank the two of them and the rest of my students for everything that they did to make this happen.
Thank you, Bill.
Mr. Chair, if you want to orchestrate any questions.
Yeah, let's, I know there's going to be some questions there. We have one in the back, Rosemary.
I didn't know this was happening, but I'd like to add a comment. I'm at the Powell Elementary School every week with the Big Brother, Big Sister program. And I think it was 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, the little sister that I have, when we first met, was so excited. She said, you know, we're going up to the high school, to the Career Development Center, and we're going to be doing this thing. So, you know, in anticipation, they weren't even sure what was going to be happening, but they were so excited to be coming. So, you know, thank you for putting it on.
Others?
Just a comment.
Yeah,
I
okay.
didn't get a chance to go to the program, but I just wanted to thank Katie and Amber right here now, because what I just picked up, synchronized presentation was just great. I mean, it switched off between the two of them without a clue of that it was going to make the exchange, and I'm telling you, that was just great.
Thank you.
Very good, very good. Any other comments?
I'm just very impressed with what the students have done and the presentation and how it's helping the children to hopefully choose to come to CDC in the future.
This would be a good time to mention, there are plans in the works to try to expand it to the towns that weren't here. Do you want to talk on some of the planning you've done with that? Or was that, is that, other than we have done, we anticipated that might be a
Yeah.
question from you this evening, so.
We definitely talked about it, but we didn't do it this year because it was a lot. We went from having 20 Shasberry kids coming the year before to 120 kids coming this year. So definitely we couldn't go from 20 to every school, but we're definitely not excluding any school. They're welcome to come and they're welcome to experience what everyone else did.
I gotta say, as I walked around that day, I was very impressed with the professionalism, and I will use that word, that our students demonstrated in organizing this, everything from tour guides to the troubleshooters who were walking the building as problems arose, as would happen in any event of this size. So, and that's why I wanted to share it with all of you tonight. So thank you.
Some of these letters are really incredible. My favorite part was winning a cookie, a big cookie, and then I got to hammer a huge nail. What was it like working with young children like that? Was that an experience in itself for you? A challenge?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge, but it was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah, we were a little nervous. Like at first there was some like switching issues. We had just a few problems, and we were a little nervous that the kids were not having fun. But we had the tour guides ask every time they switched if they were having fun, and they all went crazy, and they all were saying all the stuff that they love. So they don't care. They just want to have fun.
Yeah.
John had a question.
John?
Yeah, if you do expand it, I'm assuming you're not going to try and do it all in one day?
Yeah, definitely not. That's a lot for one day.
Yeah.
Definitely have to split that up.
Right, okay.
Project management is a hot topic in colleges now, and degree-earning institutions, there's a lot of students that are enrolling in that type of profession. So I'm glad you've had a chance to experience it through the CDC, and maybe it's something you'll choose in your life, and good luck with it.
Thank you.
Very good presentation. Thank you for coming this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Jim's going to give the balance of his report in the regular part of the meeting. Are there any other public comments this evening? All right. Seeing none, then we'll get on to the rest of the agenda. As I get it back up here. Committee reports. We have the Finance Committee, the Education Facilities, and the Policy Committee. Did they meet since the last time we talked, any of those?
Yes.
I heard yes from Leon. No from Leon, yes from Ricky.
Did we announce the finance last time, that we had a chairman in the name of Kevin Goodhue? Did we do that last time?
Yeah, I found that out, I read the minutes.
Yeah, he found that out when he read, he made that comment to me earlier. We do have a chairman of the
I
Finance.
haven't heard from dissent, so I took it was okay.
Thank you for bringing that up, Ricky. I'd like to introduce our chairman is Kevin for the Finance Committee.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right, but there's no reports there. None of the committees have met.
Yes, we did.
We met
We did.
prior to the last meeting, then we reported at the last meeting, remember?
We reported last meeting.
We all gave a report at the last meeting.
We had a meeting on April 1st, and our last board meeting
You was gonna be looking for money from something.
was at the end of February.
March.
rather.
You had a meeting on April 1st.
Yeah, it's right here in the minutes.
Right.
Okay, yeah. I thought we reported that out, but we didn't. Go ahead, Ed. Give us your
I
report.
should have kept my mouth shut. The Education Committee did meet on April 1st, and the purpose of the meeting was to discuss possible reductions in force, or whether or not they would be necessary to fill the $80,000 deficit that we have in the budget. And the superintendent asked us to delay that until he did more homework on possible reductions. So we took no action, but we did discuss a couple of things that probably need to come before this full board. One of them was we threw out the idea of having a discussion about whether or not we should permit students from other districts that are not part of our district, like Hoosick Falls and Cambridge and so forth, to fill empty seats in our programs for the same tuition that Mount Anthony and other schools in the regional district are charged. In other words, instead of them having to pay the full $13,000 or $14,000 in tuition, they would be allowed to fill an empty seat in a program for the $4,000 or $5,000 that makes up the local portion of the tuition. And historically, that was discussed by the board at a couple of different times, going back, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago. And nobody could arrive at a decision simply because there was a consideration that perhaps the voters, taxpayers, would object to it. And I don't know if that is still a valid complaint or not. Airlines fill empty seats by allowing people to take a ride at a reduced fare, and hotels do the same thing. So it's worth a rational discussion and consideration.
Okay. Let's recap this. The discussion was around filling empty seats at a reduced rate, and that reduced rate would be calculated based upon the amount of tuition that is not reimbursed by the state.
Right.
Okay.
The local tuition,
The
local share of
local
tuition.
share of tuition. Okay. So that's what's in discussion at that level. Are you prepared to bring anything to the full board? Do you want to do that, or you want more time for that
I
discussion?
think we should put that on the agenda for future.
More research on that possibility, but certainly anybody that has any input for the committee about that topic, you should share that with a committee member before they meet again. Because, yeah, that is something we could examine. And that doesn't just apply to New York or Massachusetts schools, it applies also to, from what I understand, the private schools in the area as well. Am I correct there? Okay. So, if you would, please share your thoughts on that with the committee members. Okay? Anything else on that?
No, we had a brief discussion about the Mount Anthony short blocks and the effect it has on us, and I think that takes some more, it's going to require some more research too.
Okay. The Education Committee has a full agenda, there's no doubt about it. They are working on the issues of class sizes, our program offerings, the tuition, and again, the scheduling issues. So we appreciate their hard work. Anything from any of the other committees? Gloria's committee will be convening shortly. I'm meeting with a couple of reps from the town of Bennington, BCIC here shortly, meeting with one tomorrow and hopefully another on Wednesday, so that we can have some members of the community serve with us on the strategic planning. And once we get some okays, I'll let you know, Gloria, so that we can get that kicked off.
I've been thinking about it, so
Okay.
that would be wonderful.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely want some outside participation, some community participation on that planning committee. All right. I'll bring the agenda back up here. The consent agenda. Can I have a motion for the acceptance of the full board meeting minutes?
So,
Ricky has moved.
Second
and
it.
Second by Leon. Any questions on the minutes from the last meeting in March 17? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of accepting those minutes, please signify by raising your hand. That is unanimous, Barb. Payroll warrants number 21, 1037, 22, and 1039.
I move them all.
Ricky has moved them all and is seconded by Kevin. Any discussion on the payroll warrants? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of accepting those, then please signify by raising your hand. That too is unanimous, Barb. The vendor warrants, there's vendor warrant number 1038 and 1040.
So moved.
Second.
And seconded by Kevin. Any questions on those? Usually it is. Yeah, Ed?
Warrant 1040, on page 4, there was a classroom with no heat.
A classroom with no heat.
And a charge of $640.
Yep.
What happened there?
Other than they don't have heat, I don't know, and Jim Marsden called in, I don't know, what was the vendor on there, Ed? I know they were, it's upstairs in what you would know as Wendy Klein's room. I know that was the room that they were working on with a ventilation issue, and that's the bill that came through.
So,
Okay. I thought there was some discussion on it when I was here one afternoon, and there was no problem, and they wondered why that person showed up. So I wondered why it showed up as a...
The discussion we were in, we didn't know they were here. We didn't call them
Okay.
in. Jim Marsden called them in, which is, you know, he supervises the building, not us, so. I don't want to guess about what happened, but someone filled out a work order, would be my guess, that they were having a heating problem, and those go to him, not to us. So what we had said at that time is we were surprised to see them working up in there, because we didn't know that they were there.
should we have a procedure maybe that requires work orders like that to go through the director's office before they?
Trust me, that has been discussed because we were surprised by that, and Stephanie Mulligan and I have had a discussion on just how the process should be changed, especially when there's a bill attached to it, and then, I mean, if there's no heat, we have to address it
Right.
and work and get it done.
Yeah.
That's, you know, that's, just has to happen.
Two more quick questions. There's a,
Just on Control Technologies, just to inform the board, Control Technologies, they maintain the entire heating system in the building. And they basically service all the, what they call the heatilators in the classrooms. They're the big radiation systems, and it's also the HAV system. It's a HAV system, excuse me. And they pretty much have the contract to manage the entire building, all the classes. So when something goes wrong, they're the only ones that can come in and really do the work and fix it. And it was our classroom, so I can understand we'll have to pay the tab on it, you know, because of the repair. And I've seen those heatilators go down, the motors burn out in them, the belts go in them. Sometimes they spring a leak or they clog up and they have to be replaced. So there isn't much you can do with that system or get anyone else in here to maintain it. Any other questions?
yeah, one question and one quick comment. There's a blended learning conference here. I just wanted to comment that we do have an expert on the board on blended learning. Maybe we should be taking advantage of her knowledge.
Any comment, Jackie?
Well, I'm all for blended learning,
Mm-hmm.
because I think you learn twice as much at your own pace,
Good,
and the things that you want to learn.
very good.
And one more question. On same warrant on page 14, there's a charge for the health care of $38,000. Is that just for the month of May, or is that for a longer period?
Stephanie would have to answer that one, I would think.
That's just for the month of May.
Okay, so we're paying that every month, that
Well,
all 12 months of the year?
yeah, we're paying it out, but some of that is not the district's liability, some of that is the employee's portion of it too, that we
Okay.
pull from their paycheck, so that's not all of that.
Okay, that's where I was going. Thank you.
But I think we can answer in a quick round number. The district's yearly cost, our share, 270, 280, somewhere around 280,000 a year is what we're paying employers' share of health insurance.
Okay, this sounds a little better to me than $40,000 a month.
Any other questions on the vendor warrants? All right, seeing none, then all in favor of accepting those as presented? Unanimous, Barb. Thank you. Any questions on the cash flow statements or the revenue and expenses reports? Okay. Action items. We need to warn the policy on community service. And Leanne, you want to give us a little quick rundown again once more on that before we,
Only if someone need questions. We talked about it last time, and we got it here now, and everybody has an opportunity to read it, to see whether they had any comments or questions about it. Its function.
okay?
Hearing no comments, I'll move it.
No comments, no questions? Okay, it's moved by Ricky, it's seconded by Francis. Any others? All those in favor then of accepting that policy as presented, please signify by raising your hand. Any opposed? Abstain? So Jackie, you missed that one. Were you voting for that?
Yes,
I see you were. Yeah, you're voting in favor, okay. And John, I missed yours. Did you vote in favor of that? You did, okay, thank you. Unanimous, Barb. We have an auto tech field trip Friday, May 2nd, and Saturday, May 3rd, to Epping, New Hampshire. That is in the Dropbox. And I know Jackie has a question on that. Go ahead, Jackie.
Well, on the field request form, it doesn't list chaperones, and it's implied, of course, that the teacher, also driver, is taking them.
Yes.
However, there's a note that follows it, an invitation to parents,
Mhm.
and I wondered if that invitation was extended to the parents?
There's a letter that goes to it that, I don't have that answer for you from Jackie. I'm assuming the parents of those students have been invited by the teacher, but I can check and verify that. That's, from previous years, that's my recollection of what happened.
The only thing that I'm a little hesitant about is when one teacher goes with students, and
Mhm.
I just think other people should go with them.
But that's, I mean, we have, I mean, if I care
Go
to
ahead.
comment, we have a policy in place that says something about the minimum number in terms of teachers and so forth along that line, and to address just that. And so they're meeting that expectations, but if they need to have more, I don't think anybody will turn them away. I've offered myself, if somebody got in trouble and is open, I would take off and go on a trip, you know, to supply a number, but.
I believe this is the teacher and 3 students, but
That's
I
right.
could stand corrected on that.
Yeah, there's only
Two
two
students.
Yeah.
students, right.
Yeah,
So Leanne, what you're saying then, that meets our policy?
we have one teacher to 8, and then we ask that if you can, you have another one along that line. And the reason behind that, I know Jackie's talking about, if something were to happen, a person needs to get sick and go to the hospital or something, somebody would be able to at least stay and split that along that line. But they are meeting that policy piece right now, and it's kind of hard with 2 people, or 2 students to take more than that, but it's a good thing to bring it up and try to get somebody else.
Well, it's also, I'm sure there's room for parents to drive with them, so it defray some of their cost.
We'd have to have the parent background checked if we did that.
There you go, I was just gonna ask that.
Yeah.
But that has happened. Yeah.
So do you know if the letter did go out to parents or invitation did
No,
go out to
I don't know that. I don't have that answer.
You could check with the
Yeah.
instructor though on that for us, okay.
It's quite an honor. I mean, there's 2 of 10 finalists.
Yeah.
1/5.
It is, yeah, and they usually do pretty well. It is a tough competition, I know that.
Having been, it's a very tough competition, but I also know that the opportunity for scholarships and so forth for the students is extraordinary, so it's really good thing for them to participate in.
Thanks for sharing that with us, John. I forgot about that. There's scholarships involved for those students too. Ed?
I think they also, at least for the automotive technology programs, I think they also can receive discounts on tools that they'll need if they continue on, that go with the program.
Nice, nice. Okay, any other discussion on that field trip request? Seeing none, all those in favor then approving that field trip, please signify by raising your hands. And we have a unanimous vote on that too. Game of logging field trip. That's Thursday, May 22nd, Friday, May 23rd, which is in St. Albans, Vermont.
Which it really isn't a
So
game, it is a logging competition.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Leon, seconded by Kevin. Any discussion on that one? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the game of logging field trip, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you. That's unanimous as well. And then we have the FBLA field trip National Leadership Conference in Nashville, Tennessee.
What what's the
That'll be-
purpose of having a hard copy? I didn't see the difference between what's on the site and the hard copy that's on the desk. Is it supposed to be something different?
I think you got this because if I understand correctly, this didn't go into the Dropbox till today.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Then I just,
Looks like some time
Okay.
could change too on it.
Yeah,
let's see. I missed the little subtle changes, if that's what it was.
yeah.
Make a motion, we approve.
And
Okay.
you'll see that it's pending whether we investigate. You're not going to meet again before we get your approval, so our notation is pending sufficient funds on recommendation from Stephanie because the price changed at the last minute, and just want to be absolutely sure we can cover the obligation.
Yeah.
So moved.
Kevin's already moved it. Ricky, you
Oh, okay,
second
sorry.
it? Okay. And all in favor of that? Yeah.
If for some reason there's not enough money, I think we need to be notified so we can try to make this work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't you think? This is very important.
And I'm committed to this because I've always said that here at the Career Center, this is our equivalent of sports teams, these national, these student competitions, so. yeah.
I just couldn't quite
Yep.
figure it out today,
Sure.
but I wanted you to have it.
I just don't want, have them not go for
No, it is our intent to
$100
support.
or whatever.
Yeah,
Right now, I think it's more like we're a couple of thousand apart, but.
Well, I'm sure we can.
yeah, I'm sure we can too. And they did so well in the state competition, it would be a shame if they didn't have a chance to compete nationally. Yeah. All those in favor of this, please signify by raising your hand. And that's unanimous too, Barb. And we have one other, last minute, right? And that is Tim Foley's Theater Arts, Roundabout Theater, 254 West 54th, New York City.
So moved.
Second it.
Okay, moved by Kevin, seconded by Leon. Any discussion on this one?
Yes,
Yeah, go ahead.
we're back to the number of chaperones for the number of students discussion.
Okay, we have,
17 to 1.
17, so that,
So there will be another.
New
it
York.
needs to be another one.
There will be someone else going with
and
it.
going to the,
That's the
I
assumption.
think
but he's
Tim
doing it.
was probably referring to himself and then also,
Eric,
So
that's-
okay.
but still.
You still
Yeah.
need one more.
He still need one.
Yep.
he's still over the max.
he's still one over, that's right. So he's got to have another.
Or kick a student off.
Will you make sure that this?
We'll make sure it's in compliance,
It's
yeah.
in compliance?
Yeah, he's always trying to get me to go with him.
Well, it's not a bad idea going to New York, to the theater. How can you resist?
It's saying it's gonna be all one day.
Yes, it is a one-day
25th,
trip,
So
yeah.
just New York,
Yeah.
but it's gonna be one day.
Yep, our bus takes them over to the train, they take the train into the city, go to the play, and reverse it on the way home. It's a long day.
Any other discussion on this one? All those in favor then please signify by raising your hand. Unanimous.
And that May 25th is a Sunday. Yes, it's
That's
Sunday.
correct.
It's a Sunday.
And we're leaving at 6 a.m. And getting back at 11 p.m. It's a long day.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. But that's, like you say, the tickets are, are less expensive. That's right.
Yeah.
They're taking advantage of that.
New York doesn't sleep on Sunday.
So if he gets into trouble and needs somebody else, that may be some, it's a Sunday, I'll miss church for him.
Thank you, Leon. It is the time of year for field trips, there's no doubt about it, and competitions. Okay, we're back to the superintendent's report.
Okay.
Jim?
The student's presentation, which I can't really, again, I have to mention how impressed I was with how that day went, and very proud of them and our teacher for organizing. He was modest in his, that he let them run, but he also nurtures the environment that lets that happen, so thank you. But there are other people that need to be thanked for what happened during that week. I think Career Week here at the CDC was a great success, and all the staff participated in that on 2 days, on Tuesday and Thursday of that week, when we had our we had lunchtime program fairs here in the atrium and in the hallway approaching the atrium, and in the upstairs hallway by displays of all our programs. It's been a success in the past. Who was that? The target audience for that were MAU high school students who aren't currently taking our classes, so that when they were coming through the building, they were encouraged. And we had great cooperation from MAU high school in encouraging students to come by and walk by and see the display. I want to thank one staff member, particularly Ashley Kuhn, a para-educator here, who acted as the key coordinator for getting all the tables and program sign-ups, for getting that done. So she deserves recognition for that. And as I said, all staff members for their participation in signing up. I mean, it's a great opportunity for them to display and highlight what's going on in their programs, and it does serve some self-interest in that way, but it is also for the betterment of the Career Development Center. So I appreciate those efforts. And I want to thank Mount Anthony High School, particularly Sue McGuire, for their cooperation that day, because it was a busy week for them as Career Week here. And on Wednesday of that week, they did host the governor here, and so it added to all of that good chaos that can go on during a very, very busy week. And so one thing I want to point out to, and we had a thank you to our graphics program. I want to thank the graphics program, because if you look around, you'll see that our logo has sprung on a few other walls. And my directive was that when we have an event here, I want our logo available in just about every camera angle. So you will notice, if you saw the picture of the governor when he was here speaking, this new logo on the back wall was visible in the photo shot. So on our first time out, it was accomplished. We still got a few bare spaces and a few more ideas of how we're going to incorporate what we're going to put on those walls, so that this room gets used a lot by other people, and we want them to know where they are and where that's taking place. So that's two reports in one: Career Week and the new graphics there. And this keeps logging out on me. Last Friday, there was a big event here. I don't know if you went by and saw all the cars here. The Department of Labor hosted here at the Career Development Center a career fair, career training day, primarily for the employees of Plasan, but it was open to the public. And I want to thank the Vermont Department of Labor for allowing us to be the host of that and to participate in that event. They were a great partner in it. I mean, we basically provided the facilities, made sure the classrooms were set up as they needed, and provided coffee. But their workshops were everything from resume writing, mock interviews, how to navigate a career fair, things like that. And for people who have been in the workforce and now are about to be looking again, I think it was a very valuable day, and I truly believe that events like that should be held here at the Career Development Center. So we were happy to host it. We had to, and I want to thank our custodial and maintenance staff, because they go on a different schedule when it's school vacation week. They're all here during the day. There's no night shift, so when we have those events, it did put a little bit stress on them and on their cleaning schedule, because if you've been in a school building during vacation week, a lot of the rooms get emptied out, they do their bigger cleaning, and then we throw the wrench into the works that we want to be able to use classrooms on a Friday during vacation week. And they were extremely accommodating. I think everybody realized the importance of this day and what it meant to the employees of Plasan. So you should be proud of what the Career Development Center did last Friday for the employees of Greater Bennington. Let's see. I want to make it a kind of a fun announcement of something. I want to announce the first annual Superintendent's Cook-Off. The Culinary 2 students have been given a challenge by the superintendent. I met with the chef instructor, and I gave some areas that, it was everything from chowder to the winning item is going to be a slider competition. So the students from, and I let them pick along with sort of which they thought, based on what their training to date, would be better suited for them. So they chose to do the slider competition. So all culinary students in Culinary 2 will participate with their best slider recipe. I will be putting together a highly trained selection panel, and you will all.
So this is gonna be like a Bobby Fake throwdown type of thing?
Well, it'll
a
be,
cooking channel?
they're gonna have to present their slider that they think will be the winning competition. And they're gonna work out the details this week on what, you know, I have no restriction on what the protein's gonna be. I mean, it could be a lamb slider, it could be a meatball slider, whatever. Whatever their specialty would be. So at your May meeting, and that's what this, you will be presented with the winning slider. That is what your snack will be at the May meeting. And that'll be so the superintendent's first annual cook-off. I do hope that it'll become an annual event for our culinary students, and they're pretty enthusiastic about it and ready to go. And
Who's doing the judging?
I don't, well, the superintendent has to be involved in it, because it is, and I will not do it alone. I want it to be a blind panel. So anybody who thinks they want to volunteer and be around during the day, I'd be glad to have that. But yeah, that's a little fun for the students, and again, reality competition, so.
Let's hope this is just the beginning of, and he goes on to other program offerings and competes on changing breaks or things like that, you know?
And I'll volunteer your cat to be the first one to break notes. Today, this morning, actually, I read the draft grant application for the sustainable foods, because the deadline for that is May 1st, so the draft is ready. Actually, I think the grant is pretty much ready with some changes. And just a reminder, that's a $75,000 innovation grant from the Department of Education that we're going for, that would fund that program for the first year, and then the second year grant would be $50,000, and after that, we would own that program. So it's progressing well. Wanted to give you, after that, I think we will, we have to make the May 1st deadline. But that is going forward, and I think Amanda's done a great job with that. We did file an amendment to FY14 Perkins grant. That's this year's Perkins grant, because we didn't want to get into the predicament that we did last year where we had to send back funds. We did receive word today, tentative, it seems like the amendments have been approved. Do you want to, I don't want to put you on the spot because you didn't know I was going to talk about this, but do you want to talk about what some of the amended changes are that are going to allow us to spend? I know you and Mike worked on that.
Sure. The big change that we did is we moved some of the funds out of salary position that you weren't going to be able to use up all the funds, and we shifted those funds and a little bit other to promote more professional development and also focus on I'm having trouble thinking about what, making it easier for non-traditional students to enter into programs. So we kind of pulled some of the programs that had less non-traditional students, like forestry, automotive, building, to see whether there were certain things that they needed that would help them, make it easier to have.
With the chainsaw being the easiest
Right,
example.
like a chainsaw, porta potties at
The work sites.
work sites, things like that. And that's.
Because these were items that came up that might be reasons for, in a survey, might be a reason why we're not attracting non-traditional students. And one was that, as
There was no
Stephanie mentioned,
bathroom
there was no bathrooms when our students go off-site. So it's been amended, we amended the grant, hopefully that we're going to be able to put a porta potty at those sites. And from Dave Dents, our forestry teacher, he provided information on a chainsaw that has a shorter pull, easier start.
And lighter.
And lighter weight. It's a smaller chainsaw, so it's more that it's not one size fits all. So hopefully, and we got a verbal approval from the state today that that's going to be okay, but we're
Good.
still waiting for that, so. yeah.
One of the big parts is we may be able to use some of the funds to put a down payment on a bulldozer, or, sorry.
Front-end loader.
Front-end
The front-end
loader
loader that was in the budget.
that we wouldn't have been able to get otherwise without the
Right.
funds.
We can get a model that will be more user-friendly as far as cab accommodations, hydrostatic drive, so we've written the grant that way that would allow then maybe non-traditional students. And, we have to be careful that we're not supplanting the budget, so we're still committed to buying the front-end loader, but this is going to allow us to get a model that would be more universally acceptable.
User-friendly.
Yeah,
Yep,
thank you.
very good. Thank you.
And I think I only have one more item. I was going to talk to you about the AAA competition up in Epping, but we took care of that. The only other thing I want to mention, because I didn't know if Ricky was going to mention it, but, teacher negotiations are underway. Ricky and I have been making those meetings, and Stephanie and Fran, well, he's not our representative, right?
No,
Is he?
we know it. We just.
But we know he's there, and we meet again. It's a face-to-face negotiating meeting with both sides this Thursday at 4 o'clock. And I do think that, there's progress being made. Both sides are talking, which is always a good thing. So without, the details of, and, the privacy that has to go on during the cloak of silence on negotiations, I just wanted to let you know that it is ongoing, in case you're not hearing anything. So, and that concludes my report for this evening. Any questions?
Questions of the superintendent? Okay.
Send me an email if you want to be a judge
On the slider.
on the slider competition. Sure. That has been the unveiling of the winner will be at the next board meeting, but I meet with them Friday again of this week where we will iron out the contest rules and all of that. So it'll happen within this month or May.
Okay, the chair's report. I have mentioned earlier that the Ed Committee is very busy and they're working on examining our program offerings and working with the Finance Committee as far as our $80,000 shortfall, which has been reduced at somewhere around the $50,000 range now, because working with the business manager, et cetera, we found some areas where we can reduce that, and we're continuing to look at that in finance as well as the Ed. But Ed has mentioned that there are some possibilities of reduction in force. Now, according to the teacher's contract, the bargaining agreement, we have to notify anyone who's going to be reduced by May 15th. And we're holding off, as Ed said, to the last possible moment here. Primarily as we continue to work the budget, as we continue to look at enrollments that are coming in now from the guidance department as far as what our enrollments are going to look like for next year. So there's a very good possibility we will need to hold a special meeting of the entire board prior to May 15th so that we can address the issues if necessary. So I would like to just kind of poll the board as to what they prefer as far as a meeting date and time. Looking at the calendar, the 15th is what? It is a Thursday. I would like to go as close down to, I guess, I get to the wire. So anytime the 12th to the 14th, I would say. We can't go right to the 15th because if we do have to prepare paperwork, et cetera, it has to be in their mailboxes by that time.
Is one day enough time to prepare?
Probably.
I mean, yes, but I wouldn't want to cut it that close either.
Okay,
Yeah.
then we should probably make it the 12th or the 13th.
The 12th or the 13th.
So that's Monday or Tuesday.
That's either Monday or Tuesday. Any conflicts?
Yeah, I have a conflict on Monday if it's after 7.
If it's after 7, okay? So how about Tuesday? So would you mark your calendars then for Tuesday? We'll probably meet at the same time, 6:30, if we need to.
That'd be the 13th of May.
I probably won't be able to make that meeting.
You probably will not be able to make that meeting, will you?
Not that week.
So what about the 12th earlier?
He said the week.
Oh,
yeah.
that, all that week.
The 12th, maybe,
Monday, the 12th, you could if we meet earlier.
yeah.
And earlier being
5?
5?
Oh, I thought when you said earlier, she put me in a problem, but.
She has a conflict at 7.
Oh, okay. Well, it's because of this time of year. I mean, you can do it out. Just take care of Jackie. Or
For the business office, the Monday might be better because I think I'm going to the tri-state on the,
And you're a little critical to this, so yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
very, very much so. So Monday, we're back to Monday. We're looking at a time of 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
How does that sound for everybody? Would you just tentatively mark that on your calendar, and we'll let you know as we get closer and closer to that date. I would appreciate that. Okay. I've checked with the superintendent. At this time, there is no need for executive sessions. So is there any other business before the board this evening? All right, seeing none, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Francis and seconded by Kevin. All those in favor? And that's unanimous. Very good. Thank you for coming this evening, folks.